Don in London, hello. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My substance was alcohol, still is, I guess, if I were to go back to it. My behaviour, trying to be perfect, I guess, working as hard as I could for over 35 years, I realise now. And workaholic, relationshipaholic, name it, any old olic, any old ism, I guess. Could have been anything. The substance could be food, chocolate, almond slices, still. So I'm smiling when I say that, but it's a very serious message actually. What do we do when we find ourselves in a place of addiction and we don't know where we are, or suddenly we find that we cannot stop doing whatever it is that we do? And it's not only a compulsion, it's an obsession. We can't do without it, and we can't function in any shape or form without keeping on doing something which is harmful. And somebody mentioned tonight in a meeting of AA, that's Alcoholics Anonymous, where I go for a bit of wisdom about how to keep sober a day at a time. They said, there are all sorts of self-harm issues which go on, not only for men but for women and people growing up, and they take all sorts of forms. And whilst the common vision of somebody doing self-harm is, as he said, a girl cutting herself with a razor blade, it does come in other forms as well. And definitely, alcoholism or any ism like it is a form of self-harm. So I'm in a place of sobriety one day at a time, and I've been doing this for a little while. As I say, what helps me most is the Fellowship of AA, and it's September the 10th 2009, end of the day. I will share the AA preamble, statement of intent, what it's about, because whether we're into the programme or where I went tonight, where the meeting is for people who speak as a chairperson sharing their experience, strength and hope, they generally are 8 years plus sober. Anybody can share back, of course, but we learn what it's like to be in how do we cope with later sobriety. And the answer is always, it's the same as the first day, but I'll talk about that maybe some more as I go along. So the statement of intent of AA, it goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I guess what that message is also saying is, if we want to keep being sober, we have to give it away. And part of this is me sharing here my experience, strength and hope, and in a general way what others are teaching me on a daily basis. And that comes in the form of the programme itself, fellowship, friends and fellowship these days. 100 meetings in London to choose from every day, so I'm told, or an average of, because there's over 700 in London each week. So there are quite a few people out there keeping sober one day at a time and not indulging in self-harm. And what a relief. And today's been a fairly gentle day of sorting stuff out, just dreadful things like finances, but we all have to do it, I guess, and then trying to make sense of the day. And what's been working for me is being in touch with people, and via Facebook and other vehicles I found in the rooms an enormous website of people who are in recovery, and also I think it's called As Bill Sees It. I'll have to double check that. I may be misquoting it, but there are a lot of websites out there all about recovery, and we learn a personal choice in recovery, what we can do. And some of the things which I've been hearing, which are absolutely wonderful, is another person's experience of letting go of the self-obsession and letting go the idea, I suppose, in a way, letting go of what they ought to do, or what they think they ought to be doing, or should be doing, or could be doing, and letting life happen. And it's almost like getting back on the motorway of life. You know, there are big roads that we can take, and the best one for me is joining it and seeing where it goes. I don't know what the destination is more than maybe for 24 hours, but I'm on the highway, the main highway, with my eyes open and listening to another person share that they're seeing things in the moment, and they saw a fox in the city just walking up the road, and this fox looked at them and they looked back, and the fox stood still and they stood still, and they just said hello to the fox, and the fox looked back and stood there, I suppose, considering the threat, but there was no threat, so it ambled off when it was ready. And the thrill is to see nature in the most interesting of places. It happens all the time, everywhere. And that's a bit like the programme of AA. For so many years we're stuck in the rut of feeding the habit and being driven by it, rather than having any choices in life except to keep on drinking or doing whatever it was, the drug or the behaviour, and then finding there's a way forward on a daily basis, and just gently finding a path, and then a road, and then the highway or the motorway of living. Now, how cool is that? It means on a daily basis we learn to live with what is, and sometimes it's happy, sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's making us full of anger and resentment because it kicks up the dust from the past, and we have to ask ourselves, what was our part in that? And it can simply be that we were younger and we were in that place, in that time and place, and those things happened to us. And I heard a deeply disturbing account of what that meant for a person. And you know, these days, if we encounter such things again, we know how to respond, hopefully, which is not to engage in trying to right the behaviour of another person, but make the right choice and the right behaviour for ourselves, what is good for us. And often it could be exclusion of that influence in our lives, and if we can, we do, and we leave them to sort out their part in it, and get on with living our part in our lives. Now, that sounds very easy to say, and it's about the hardest thing I ever learned to do. There were things in my past which just absolutely crippled me and filled me with shame and guilt about what happened to me and my inability to have any power over the outcome. And that's it was a bit of a shock to realise that I couldn't go back and change it. Maybe I could learn from it and not put myself in those situations again. And the gift is knowing the difference, knowing what is possible and what is not possible. I am powerless over people, places and things, which is so fundamental that it sounds impossible to get that attitude, if you like, or that understanding of life, because people, places and things have got their own, it's just the way it is. So for me, I just learn on a daily basis what is working for me. And I was looking in my AA book where it says working with others, and it says in chapter 7, practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. It works when other activities fail. This is our 12th suggestion. Carry this message to other alcoholics. You can help when no one else can. You can secure their confidence when others fail. Remember, they are ill. Life will take on new meaning to watch people recover, to see them help others, to watch loneliness vanish, to see a fellowship grow about you, to have a host of friends. This is an experience you must not miss. We know you will not want to miss it. Frequent contact with newcomers and with each other is the bright spot of our lives, and for me it certainly is. And I'm learning every single day a little bit more about what it is to be a human being, to love, be loved, and have something useful to do, and to connect and help and support and have help and support back. So when I say the serenity prayer to God or good conscience, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom simply to know the difference on a daily basis.